Back here on WEEI, the Boston Bruins are looking for answers. Through 3 games, it seemed like, Marco Sturm, he's the hero. He's the savior. He's the chosen one for the Bruins behind the bench. But since then, they have lost 6 games in a row, and they're lucky that the Calgary Flames exist because otherwise they'd have the longest losing streak in the NHL. I, as a Bruins fan, am looking for answers on this team, so I had to turn to the very best. Joining us here on WEEI, the host of The Sheet every Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock through Daily Faceoff and the Nation Network. That is Jeff Marek. Mr. Marek, good morning. How are you?
Mr. Marek is my dad here. How you doing, Dan? Glad to be on with you today. How's it going, pal?
Everything is great. It's a pleasure to get to catch up with you. We were connected through a mutual friend. Yes.
Yeah, actually, you read that intro just as I wrote it, just to flatter my ego. So I want to open this conversation up by thanking you.
Well, the pleasure is mine, and a friend of Glenn Clark's is somebody who deserves an A+ intro for sure. But before we get into the topics of the day and the disaster that is the Boston Bruins start to the season, can you tell us a little bit about the new venture that's starting up on Monday, the Hockey Lifers, with a gentleman known better as Gabby?
Yeah, Bruce Boudreau, longtime NHL coach, longtime player. I mean, he's won every championship, either as a player or a coach, other than the Stanley Cup. It's a weekly podcast through Monumental Sports Network. It's going to be, I'll be blown with you, it's going to be a lot of stories, Dan. Like, Gabby's been there, done that, got the hat, the whole deal. So it's going to be a lot of stories. It'll be a lot of current news, current goings-on around the NHL, but This is going to be a whole lot of story time. So if you're interested in great hockey stories, where most of them are even true, Dan, check out the Hockey Lifers Monday, wherever you get your podcasts, also on the Monumental Sports Network's YouTube feed.
Awesome. Looking forward to subscribing and hearing that stories from 2 of the very best storytellers in the game right now. But you got to help me out with this Bruins group right now. Before we get into where they are right now, you looked at their offseason. What'd you expect this team to be able to accomplish based on the state of their roster entering the year?
Not a lot. Like, I'll just be blunt. I really like the hiring of Marco Sturm. And if you talk to anybody who's ever played for Marco Sturm, one of the things they will always come back to is how much he is a complete stickler for tiny details. And I talked to a couple of his players that had him with the Ontario Reign, the farm team, the AHL, for the Los Angeles Kings. And you know where sometimes a lot of coaches won't want to get their hands dirty and actually work with players, feeding pucks for one-timers. He would stay after practice and do that with all the guys.
Wow.
Like, this is the 24/7, fully invested, pay attention to every detail. Like, the big thing for Sturm is, and you saw this with his career too, Dan, he's more interested in consistent performances than peaks and valleys. Like, he's more interested in someone bringing a consistent effort to the rink, to the team, to the organization every single day than someone having an insane game where they put up 5 points and then go quiet for 5 more games. That's not Marco Sturm. His calling card is consistency and details. And listen, for some players, that's a tough learn. And I know it sounds harsh when I say I didn't have a lot of expectations for the Boston Bruins. They have elite level players at every single position except the center position.
Right.
And it's really tough to win hockey games. What's the phrase? Oh, they're a donut team, no center. It's really hard to win hockey games if you don't have, if you don't have NHL quality and NHL caliber centermen who are playing in their slots, right? Like, you can have NHL centermen, and that's great, but it doesn't really work out when you have someone who should be a number 2 playing first-line center, who's someone who should be a third-line center playing second-line center. You know what I'm getting at here. It's tough to win hockey games without that center position addressed.
So is it fair to say that this team is lacking those 2 characteristics that you talked about with Marco Sturm, the consistency, the work ethic? Is it fair to say the Bruins have been lacking in the areas that Marco Sturm would most want to profess?
I think it's kind of just a transition for the Boston Bruins, to be honest with you. Like, listen, Marco Sturm, like, whenever there's a rookie coach, right? Like, any rookie coach in the NHL, there's a whole lot of there's a feeling out process. There's not a sort of track record that guys can lean back on. So I think this is more of a situation than in a lot of other coaching situations, most notably, Anaheim with Joel Quenneville,
right,
where everybody on the Anaheim Ducks team, understands, the success rate that Joel Quenneville has had at the NHL level. I think this is still a team that's going through a feeling out process with a rookie NHL coach, one that has a lot of promise, one that we all knew would get an NHL job eventually here, and that can be awkward. Now, the other thing that, I always get weird about this because it's the beginning of the season, but the one thing I'd want your listeners to consider, too, when, writing off the Boston Bruins season as many might be right now, they're 3-6 to start the season, and that's not great. And your point about the Calgary Flames is well made. Calgary and Boston, though, are in much different positions in their winning cycle. Calgary's looking at, probably more of a full tear down here.
Sure.
Considering their start with a lot of veteran players we could see going out the door. The thing about the Boston Bruins is, I'm always very cognizant of this. This is happening in October. Would we be having the same conversation if the Boston Bruins went through this in January? I mean, teams do. Teams do on losing streaks. 6 games is getting into uncomfortable territory, certainly.
Right.
And, how many times have you seen, like, the Buffalo Sabres, for example, will go on a 10-game losing streak, and that's the season.
Right.
To me, six is kind of a tipping point, right? You cannot rip off more than 6, maybe 7 losses in a row and still have, any, legitimate claim to making the playoffs come April. So this is a really sensitive time for this organization.
No question about that. We're speaking with Jeff Marek right now here on WEEI, host of The Sheet, weekdays at 1 on Daily Faceoff and the Nation Network. Make sure you subscribe to The Hockey Lifers with Marek and Bruce Boudreau, debuting on Monday, wherever you get your podcast. Let's expand from the Boston Bruins just a bit. The power dynamic in the Eastern Conference, though the Bruins are not part of that race at the top, which teams in the East have impressed you most early on?
Carolina.
Yep.
There's a handful, but really, Carolina coming out of the gates the way that they did. And the other thing that's fascinating about Carolina right now, and I'm not sure if you watched that Colorado game on Thursday night, Quebec Nordiques versus the Hartford Whalers, the
awesome
throwback WHA jerseys. It looked great.
That's the most aesthetically pleasing game I've seen in years. It was incredible.
Oh, just a visual treat, eh, Dan?
That's
just a visual treat. But here's the thing about that. Like, Keandre Miller's is a surprise scratch before the game, so he's dinged up right now. The Carolina Hurricanes are doing this essentially with their entire left side decimated and unavailable for service. No Jacob Slave and no Shane Gostisbehere, and now no Keandre Miller. And then they lost Carrier in the game, they lost Eric Robinson in the game. How the Carolina Hurricanes are able to continue to do this is nothing short of incredible. And the other part about this, too, as there are so many teams, we just talked about centers at the Boston Bruins, as there are so many teams around the NHL looking for specifically a second-line center, Logan Stankoven, I got caps on the mind, Logan Stankoven has done a great job as second-line center for the Carolina Hurricanes here. You'll get any manager, Dan, any coach saying it's always better to solve your problems internally. Nobody's talking about the Carolina Hurricanes going out right now and trying to pick up, a 2C, a second center, right? There's no conversations about, the rumor mill about, William Karlsson in Vegas, could he end up in Carolina? Like, all of that is gone now, because of how good Logan Stankoven, we've always just assumed, Logan Stankoven is a winger, the end. Logan Stankoven's been outstanding in the middle. New Jersey is really impressed. But the other team that I want to park here for your listeners is, once upon a time, the Edmonton Oilers were must-watch television with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Every game was exciting, and it still is.
Oh, yeah.
But the most exciting team in the NHL right now, the Montreal Canadiens. They are flat out first of all, they got speed to burn. That is a fast team, and they have elite level skill. They got high-end goal scoring. They got high-end goaltending. Lane Hudson is worth the price of admission on his own. I don't know how far the Habs go this year. They certainly do look like a solid playoff team and not just a wild card team. But I do know one thing. I don't miss Montreal Canadiens games. And I know I'm saying this to a Boston Bruins audience. But, if you get a chance, watch the Montreal Canadiens. This is a fun team to watch. The Demidov kid is so legit and making passes that remind us of, like a young Alex Kovalev in the NHL. So those have been some of the nice surprises in the East.
I was going to say, you're going to get a couple Boston listeners bristling at the singing the praises of the Montreal Canadiens. But the point is well taken, and you got to be you, kid, and Lane Hudson. So at least that's something.
Yeah, and listen, it's not all doom and gloom for Boston. I watched a ton of Dean Letourneau play at St. Andrews College. It's about 20 minutes away from my house. I know the guy that runs the program there, Dave Manning, and he's run a great program for a long time. Dean Letourneau is at least 5 games in here, looks to have turned a corner. And the disastrous season from last year is very much in his rearview mirror. And I think by now you guys know how much you have found money in James Higgins, and how he slid down to your slot is still a mystery for many. But nonetheless, there are some good things on the horizon for Boston.
No question, absolutely. James Higgins, a nice little 5-game point streak that we're keeping up with here in the Boston area. But once again, make sure you tune in the sheet every Monday through Friday at 1 through Daily Faceoff and the Nation Network. Subscribe to the Hockey Lifers debut episode coming up on Monday for Hockey Stories Abound. Mr. Marek, I know you're busy on the youth travel scouting scene this weekend, so enjoy the rink fries and everything else that's coming your way. Been a pleasure to catch up with you.
Listen, I'm in the parking lot right now. The Tim Hortons Iceplex in Rochester. About to watch my kid play Game 2. They beat the Junior Americans yesterday. I'm not sure who they're playing here, but I'm here for youth hockey in Rochester. I was hoping to get to that Rochester Laval game last night, but my kid had a game, and my wife would scold me if I went to the Amerks game over that. So no pro hockey for me here this weekend.
There you go. Well, good decisions made in the process. But enjoy it. Say hello to our friend Glenn Clark next time you get the chance. We'll catch up again soon.
Clarky's the best. Always good. Thanks, Dan.
That's Jeff Marek joining us here on WEEI. Many a laugh talking about hockey that doesn't involve the Boston Bruins. But we'll get into the plight of the Bees and what's facing them moving forward next.